Craig Filicetti. Thank you very much for purchasing Multidimensional. In your kit, you will have received some or all of the following depending on the kit that you ordered. You will have a cube, possibly the color cube with the transmitter inside of it. You will have the receiver unit, and you could have with your kit the mahogany box and the die, also the ESP cube, and there's also included a small battery that goes inside the transmitter. We'll show you that in just a little bit. First off, let's go over the receiver. The receiver unit has two batteries that are located in the back. These are CR2032 batteries, and they're already installed for you, and you can get the numbers from your user guide. Now on your receiver, you'll notice that there is a marking indicating the on position. When you turn the receiver on, you will feel it buzz for exactly 1 second. That is your receiver on. When you turn it off, you won't feel any buzz at all. It's okay to leave the batteries in this unit while you're not using it. So that's the on position, and that is off. Now let me quickly show you how to remove the batteries from the receiver. On the back side, you'll notice that there are two silver lines and there's cuts in the plastic. And you'll see there's two plus signs. That's indicating that the plus side is up. Now again, I use a coffee stir stick. There's also these wooden skewer things that I use as well. You can cut this if you like, and if you press it right inside there, you'll see how easy that is to get that battery out. Once you've got it partially out, you can just remove it with your fingers. Now again, these batteries are very easy to find. This is a CR2032, and you'll see that there's a plus side marked on them. The side with the little button on it, like this, is the negative side, and these are the plus sides. So this battery goes in with the plus side up, and it just slips right into place. Now, battery life for this, you should be able to get about 10 hours of continuous use out of these batteries. But let me tell you about lithium batteries. The trade-off with this type of a receiver, it's very, very small, but it's a pretty heavy load for these batteries, and it's hard on them. Lithium batteries aren't used to having this type of a load, so if you can turn this off when you're not in use, you're going to get a lot more life out of your battery. You could easily get a couple months out of these, even if you perform it 10 minutes at a time. If you're able to turn it off instead of if you leave it on for 4 hours and then turn it off and you get another 4 hours out of it, that'll be a total of 8 hours. But if you're able to do it 5 or 10 minutes at a time, you could easily get 20 or 30, maybe even 40 hours out of it, because the batteries are much happier if you don't keep them heavily loaded by leaving this on permanently. But it will work if you do that. You'll find the transmitter located inside one of the cubes, and you'll notice there's some black plastic here, and you'll see there's a little battery compartment and there's a magnet right there. Now, I like to use something like a wood coffee stirrer to remove the transmitter. You simply place it inside of the cube and you pry it out. There we go. Now what I like to do is turn the receiver on and install the battery. You'll notice on the transmitter that there's a plus side on the metal clasp that holds the battery in place, and then you'll notice on the battery that there is a plus side on it, indicating the positive side. Now the battery slides into the transmitter just like that, and right now I can feel a number being vibrated on my receiver unit. So I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to go ahead and install the transmitter back into the cube. Now, I'm going to actually switch cubes for a second so that you can see the numbering. I'm going to use the die. And there's the 1 side and there's the 6 side that are opposite of each other. And the transmitter fits right into the cube with the battery on the 1 side and the foam up toward the 6 side. Now this is the only way this can go in. If you try to put it in any other way, it won't fit. The battery is too thick to go on top of the magnet in the small area up here. So the only way you can fit this in is the correct way. So I'm going to push that in right there so it's flush. And now the lid actually will snap into place like that. Let's go ahead and go over the transmitter battery removal. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off and open up this cube where the transmitter is. And I'm going to go ahead and use this stick this time to remove the transmitter. Now you can handle this transmitter. You're not going to damage anything. You can handle this. In fact, if you want to build your own custom cube, some people have talked about building a big foam cube. You can take this and you can place it inside of whatever you want. And it will work just like it does inside of these cubes. So don't worry about handling this. And I'm going to use this little stick to poke this battery out. It's as simple as that to get the battery out of it. And this is a CR1632. This is more difficult to find. You may not be able to find this in a store. So I would go and look for these on the internet. And the brand of battery that I always recommend is the ones I ship it with, which is Panasonic. I do like Energizers and Sony and Renata. They all make good batteries. I would avoid Radio Shack batteries and some of the off-brand names that you sometimes find on eBay. It's not this transmitter is not too sensitive to the battery you use because it uses such little power. But the receiver, you want to buy the best batteries you can because this uses a lot of power and you don't want to use a no-name battery that you get on eBay. I've done that before and they don't work very well. Now I'm going to go over removing the white plastic or the white paper, protective paper on the die. What you need to do is you need to use your fingernail to pull the paper away from the die like this. Okay? Now, once you've done that, you can actually use a little bit of lighter fluid to clean the die when you've got the paper off of it, if there's any residue on it. And you can go ahead and clean the die with that. You can also use a Sharpie marker, a fine tip one, and if you ever need to touch up inside of the edges of the die, you can use the Sharpie marker there to do that. Now, I will tell you that you should probably have some lighter fluid on hand when you do that, because if you slip and you hit the black part, you'll be able to see it. But if you remove it quickly with the lighter fluid, you won't be able to see the mark. It'll take it right off. Okay? Now, once you've removed the protective white paper, your cubes are going to look like this. Okay? Now let's go ahead and go over opening the cubes. All of the cubes open with the number 3 as the door. And the way I always do it is I place my fingernail in the seam, and you need to do it between the 3 and the 2. That's this 3 side, that's the 2 side. So the magnet is located right here. That magnet that you see right there, it's located right here. You don't want to try to open it on the magnet side. It's too difficult. So I'm going to place my fingernail right inside the crack, and I'm just going to gently lift up and lift the lid up. Now, on the ESP cube, this of course is the 3 side with the 3 waves, and you can refer to your user guide for that. The 2 is the plus sign. Okay? So I'm going to place my finger right inside the 3, and I'm going to lift up the door. Alright, I'm going to set that down. And then on the color cube, it's actually alphabetical. So 1 is black, 2 is blue, and 3 is green. And the opposite of green is red. It's the next alphabetical color, which is red, and then white, and then 6 is yellow. And of course, the opposite side is always add to 7, just like the die or just like the ESP cube. So for this cube, I simply place my fingernail in there and lift up. And that's it. Okay? Now there are other cubes that you can buy for your multidimensional. And this is the executive decision cube. And it contains answers like yes, no, no way, for sure, maybe, and not sure. And in fact, if you're not sure how to open this, that's actually the side that you open, is the not sure side. In any case, if you want to ask people questions, there's a game called Taboo, and it has lots of great questions in it, and you want to know how they might answer it, you'll know their answer to those questions. And the other one that's very popular is the cold reading cube, and it follows the same terminology as the scam. So it has on it travel, health, education, love, study, career, and money. And of course you can use this to get information, to gain information of what your sitter is most interested in at that moment in time. And then you can go ahead and proceed to give them a cold reading. And there's a third cube, I don't have one here, it's called the whiteboard cube. And it looks like this, except for it's completely white on all sides. And what it allows you to do is use, not a Sharpie, but a waterproof or a water washable marker. And you can, or stickers, and you can put them on each side. So if you're going to do a convention, you can put the products that you're promoting on the cube, or you can write things on the cube. Some people even write things on the fly while they perform it. So that's another type of cube that's very flexible that you can get. Thanks. Now, the mahogany box, there's nothing to it. You can choose to perform with the mahogany box if you like, or you can choose to perform without it. All of the cubes will fit inside, and the lid will go on. And if you care to do it the old Color Vision way, the box is actually made to do that so that you can actually do it this way if you want. But it's not required for performance, but a lot of people like to use it as part of their routine. Now, let's go ahead and go over the operation of the cube and exactly how it works. Okay? Now, the battery is already inside of this transmitter, inside of this die, so it's ready to go. Now, I'm going to turn on the receiver, and let's talk just for a second about the placement of, I'm actually getting a 3 right now because the 3 side is up. Placement of the receiver. I actually place it right here, tucked between my shirt and my pants and my waistband. A lot of people place it in their sock. Some people actually perform it finger palmed in their hand. I'm not sure how they hand the cube out, but some people do it that way. And people use sweatbands and place it right on their wrist, and some people use those iPod arm bands. They place it up here. I like to place it right here. Now just a comment on the range. This has a range of about 75 feet. You'll get the greatest range when it's finger palmed in your hand or attached to your wrist and even in your sock. You don't get as good a range when it's up against your body and your back is turned to the person, but still you've got a good 40 feet with that, so it's probably plenty for what you want to do. Now, the way the cube works is when you select any new side, it checks every 3 seconds as to if there's a new side that is up. If a new side's up, it will transmit that information to the receiver. So right now I'm getting a 6. You will get 10 repeats of that number, so I'm still getting a 6. Now after that number is complete, and you've gotten 10 of those, the cube goes into a sleep mode where it doesn't transmit any more information. It just stays there as long as the 6 is up. And then if you turn it to a new side, I'm going to turn the 1 side up, I'm now getting a 1. Now let me just cover one quick thing, is that if a 6 is up, like it is right now, I'm getting 6 buzzes. If I quickly turn it to a 1, I'm going to have to finish getting the 6 buzzes, and then the next time I'll get the 1. So sometimes when you're performing it, if the person is jumbling it in their hand, you're going to get, when it takes a snapshot of the number that was up at the right time, you're going to get that last information. So you really want to hold off until you get a nice solid signal. After 10, it goes to sleep. If this has been sitting now for 20 minutes, it goes into deep sleep. and then it only checks every 30 seconds whether or not a new side is up. Now, I recommend you leave the battery inside the transmitter. Don't take it out. I think it's more wear and tear on the unit taking it out. This battery will last you a minimum of 6 months even if you carry it around with you all the time. So for the average user, you're going to get way more than 6 months out of it. I recommend that you just leave the battery inside of it, inside the transmitter. You can move it between the cubes, but just leave it in there. So if this has been sitting on your shelf for 20 minutes, and you come up and you turn your receiver on, and you just turn this to a new side, you can start counting 1001, 1002, 1003, and it could happen immediately or it could happen after 30 seconds, but sometime within that time frame, the cube is going to turn on and you'll start receiving the signal. Now, after that, it's checking every 3 seconds until it goes into sleep mode again, and then after 20 minutes, it goes back into deep sleep if it's just been sitting there. Great. Okay, let's cover one detail about usage of the cube. Everybody asks me about tilting it. These cubes are specified to work at 15 degrees in any direction, and you'll get the correct number that's up. I don't ship them unless they pass 30 degrees. So 30 degrees in any direction, you'll get the correct number. Now, you'll often find that if you place this in someone's hand, tell them to cover it, that they'll often pull it toward themselves, which causes them to tilt the cube. And that's typically okay unless they do something like this and you know the cube's rolled over. So you need to structure your routines to keep the cube flat in their hand if you can. You might have them place the cube between you and them. You might hold their hand underneath and pull it toward you. The further away it is, it's a little bit more difficult to actually tip it so they can still see the number. But the cube does handle tipping in other directions. Of course, you can always do it on a table. You can have them cover it with a coffee cup or something else on their table, maybe a napkin or something that ensures that it's flat. So just one performance tip. Thanks. Well, thank you very much for your purchase, and I hope you enjoy Multidimensional as much as I have. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact me. And also, keep an eye on my website for other great products. And the good thing is, the majority of them work with this receiver. So once you have this, you can buy the other products at a discount, like Red Handed, Impossible Insight, Proximity is a new one coming out, and I also have a queuing system on the way and a product called Tagged. And there's a couple other custom products as well. So they all work with the same receiver. And again, thank you very much.